Greetings everyone. So before we get started on today's project, I just wanted to give you an update on what we've been doing. We haven't been filming a lot, um, except for the short video we just put out, gave you kind of a glimpse into what we were doing with the electrical main run or the meter box run. But we've managed to finish all the foam and the extra layer of plywood and all the roofing underlayment, so we're ready for our metal roof. We've just ordered the fascia board trim so we could get all that installed prior to the metal roof. So while I'm waiting on that, we're going to do some electrical work today. And then I'll also take you over and show you what we did out at the meter box. So recently, Matthew and I were able to finish up our meter box and panel board here for the electricity. The big hang up was trying to get these rigid conduits threaded. Our electrical company now requires, if you're doing the panel board like this and conduit is not in like a wall of a house or anything, it has to be a rigid conduit will thread into the PVC underground. It has to come up out of the ground rigid and tie into the meter box all in one shot without any coupling connectors. You can't use the compression connectors or anything. It's got to be threaded going into the box, and it's got to be threaded going into the plastic conduit down below. So trying to get somebody up here in the mountains to thread that was pretty difficult. So I finally found a place about an hour and 15 minutes away that was able to do that for me. So we were able to get the two conduits threaded. I didn't necessarily have to do this one because the county inspectors, this is the line going to the house, that's the line going to the utility. The county inspectors were fine with the plastic, it's just the utility. But I figured, all right, if I'm going to make, solid one there, I might as well make a solid one here so they match. And then we also added the Enphase system controller 3G. That is going to control our solar panels when they come in. I got the 3G model because that will also accept battery backup, and you can connect your generator directly to that as well. So that is what that extra box is for. So the utility power comes in, goes through the meter, comes into our breaker box. I've got a couple of LB boxes in the back with a short piece of conduit between the two boxes, and then that wiring will come in, go through the system controller, and then down this conduit and into the house. Here's a shot of the backside with the conduit I was telling you about. So while we're waiting for the fascia boards to come in and the heavy-duty wire that will go from the meter box over by the utility pole up to the house, while we're waiting for all that to come in, we're going to get started working on some electrical in these columns here for the porte cochere. When I did the foundation, I had trenched in conduits so we could have plugs on each of those columns towards the inside, and also some lighting on those columns. So we're going to get started putting in the boxes and the conduit for that. So the other day we had popped off the OSB plywood that was on the inside of the column so we could get a material list. I couldn't remember how all the pipes laid out. It had been so long now. So I think we may end up having to take this one off too to get the light fixture on the front side because I want it about 9 feet up, and it's pretty close. I don't know if I'll be able to get up in there and work, you know, get the box mounted and everything. So I'll probably take this upper piece of plywood off as well. So I want to make the light box mounted about 9 feet up and centered in the column. So let's get that done. So I've got one of the metal boxes for the lights. I'm going to trace around the outside of that so I know what size hole to cut for the opening. So before I tie in that light up there, I want to put in an electrical box here so we could have a couple of plugs out this direction in the porte cochere. So I'm going to come out of that conduit and elbow into the back of this box, and then I'll come out the top of this box and go up to the light. So I want this box to be flush with the plywood right now. I'll add an extension on it later once we get the rock on here, and then I know what depth of extension I need. So in order to get this a 1/2 inch back, I've marked the lines in here, and so my block is going to sit right along the line there and along the bottom of the line I've got here on each side. And that will make my box stick out from the studs a 1/2 inch. All right, I'll get a couple more screws in that. So I got the box mounted and the line connected to the back coming out of the ground. So now what I want to do is I want to come up and I want to offset in. So I'm going to use a couple 45s, and then we're going to go up and we're going to be in between those 4x6s, and then we'll 90 into the light box that's up above. All right, so we got the conduit coming up, goes into the back of that box, and then we've got the offset and a conduit going up, and it 90s and goes to the light box that's out on the other side of the column. So now just have to go over there and repeat the same thing. So Matthew and I got this other side done, the conduit going up to the light, and then we went ahead and we pulled the wires between this column and that column down there, and of course we forgot to film it. And it would have been good filming too, because it was tough. That was a very tight pull. Just a pro tip from what I've just learned: put in a 3/4 minimum conduit if you have to run conduit at all. That half is really hard to work with. So I have an extra line over here that I've plumbed in, and then someday I want to have a flagpole out in front. So that's what the conduit on the right is, flagpole, and it'll come in on the top over here. So we won't have to run any wires there now because it goes underground 3 feet and then shoots out over this way and stops. So we will probably pull the run going up to the light on this column, and then we'll go over and we'll pull the run on the light to that column. So what the colors are, we're running black, which will be the 120 volt hot. That's going to go to the receptacles. The white is the neutral. That'll go to the receptacles and the light. Green will ground the light and it'll ground the plugs. And then the red will come from the light switch in the house. So the red will pick up the hot inside the house and bring the 120 volts on the red line so the lights can light up. So that way the plugs will have 120 volts all the time and the lights will be switched by the red wire. Just making sure they don't get away on you. That's it. Yeah, I got them hooked around the loop of the fish tape. And then we're going to kind of build up the tape here a little bit. All right. This should be an easier pull. Okay. All right. Hang on a second. Yep. All right. All right, let me pull out some more wire. Okay. Okay. All right. Need to pull out some more wire. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, I got it on my end. You're good? Yep. Okay. All right, so Matthew and I, we were able to run the wires on this column up to the light in the front, and we got the 4 wires going from this column to that column, and we were able to get the light done over there as well. And we also pulled wires back, those that go down under the porte cochere and under the house to a box that I've got in there for a splice. So all the wiring's ready to go. I've got my future conduit to go out and light up a flagpole later on. So all I have to do when I'm ready for that is just pop off the receptacle box that we're going to put on here, and you know, dig down and trench out to where I'm going to do that, and be good to go on that as well. I want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you picked up something from today's episode, and I especially want to thank all the subscribers we've been getting lately. We're creeping up on 500 subscribers. I've said it in the past, I never even thought my family would watch my videos, let alone 470 some odd subscribers that we have now. So thank you. Hopefully you guys get a little bit out of every video. You know, it was really just to document the process of building the house, and if everybody can learn a little bit on the way, I know I have. I've had a lot of people chime in, said, hey, you probably should have done it this way. So, you know, some of that constructive criticism is good. So I appreciate that when something's blatantly wrong. I can tell you the one thing that we did wrong here, I mentioned earlier, was running 1/2 inch conduit. So in the future, 3/4 minimum. Even if you're just running a few wires, it would have pulled so much easier. We had a couple of spots where it got hung up on us, and we were kind of going back and forth with the wire and the fish tape to get over. It was probably a joint where an elbow connected to a coupling or something like that. So anyway, I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.